Good morning, everybody. This is immigration attorney Irene Weisman. Today is Monday, March 31st, 2025. It's been a while since I've seen you or talked to you, so we will discuss some new changes that are happening currently in immigration law. So some news all around, okay? There will be changes, more changes upcoming to many of the forms, the 485, which is the green card application, the N400, which is the citizenship application, the 751, which is petition to remove conditions on your green card, and possibly others, but these three for sure. And these changes will have to do with disclosure of social media information. So social media has been asked on the consular forms on the DS-360, which is the immigrant visa application. So they've been asking for all social media information for a while now, for quite a few years on that form. But on USCIS forms, they really haven't asked for it. That will be one significant change, and I believe they're also proposing to add the questions about extended family, where they are, so siblings, and I believe the current location of parents, address, and some other information related to to extended family. But the social media, that's the big one. They want the disclosure of that information. Also, another change that I'm already seeing on the N400, which is the citizenship application, especially if you file it electronically. For my clients, I file most of my citizenship, naturalization, citizenship applications, the N400, I file it online. And the new thing that I'm seeing right now on the application is information for proof of not necessarily proof of travel, but when a person has been absent outside of the United States for longer than 6 months in the 5-year period prior to applying for naturalization. So now you have to provide full details and explanation as to why, and you have to provide documentation as proof that you did not abandon your permanent residency. Now, this is really a common misconception, because I hear this all over the place, even from like friends and acquaintances. Oh, I'm allowed to stay outside of the United States for a year, for up to a year, without requesting a parole or anything like that, for as a permanent resident. That's not necessarily the case, okay? For the purposes of citizenship and naturalization, and to show that you have not abandoned your permanent residency, you can't stay out longer than 6 months. And if you've stayed out longer than 6 months, then it becomes a problem for the purposes of citizenship and naturalization, and you have to prove that you did not abandon your permanent residency. And if you wish to apply for citizenship, and that travel that lasted longer than 6 months is within the requisite 5-year period, then it could be a problem, okay? And you probably shouldn't do that type of a case on your own. You should, speak with an attorney, because possibly the recommendation could be to wait to file for citizenship, because it may be too soon. It may not be appropriate enough to file for you when you think it's appropriate to file for you. So now they want disclosure of all that information up front. Before, if I had a situation like this, we would just come to an interview prepared to explain and having all that documentation with us. Now they want all of that up front. Okay, so just be aware of that. um, Voting. Okay, so there was a executive order on voting stating that in all elections, um, you know citizens are required to show proper identification, showing that they are a U.S. citizen. So only U.S. citizens are allowed to vote in this country, okay, in any elections, whether it's federal, state, local, whatever it is. You have to be a U.S. citizen to vote. I believe some localities allow non-citizens to vote, but so for the purposes of immigration, for the purposes of the INA, the Immigration and Nationality Act, you got to be a U.S. citizen to vote. There are very, very, very narrow exceptions where unlawful voting by a non-U.S. citizen will be forgiven. Usually, unlawful voting by non-U.S. citizen will preclude you from gaining U.S. citizenship, preclude you forever, okay? So this is really very important. If you are not a U.S. citizen, please don't vote. You just can't. And if somewhere you also can't state on any documents or benefits for any purposes that you are a U.S. citizen. And if inadvertently you did state that somewhere, or somebody have stated that on your behalf, for example, an accountant, or maybe somewhere in school and college at the university, as soon as you learn about it, you gotta retract that right away. Okay, you have to fix the paperwork and let them know that you are not a U.S. citizen. Okay. And if you receive like a jury duty questionnaire, often my clients that are not U.S. citizens will receive that jury duty questionnaire. You gotta put that checkbox, I'm not a U.S. citizen, can't vote yet. But voting, unlawful voting is very important, and telling somebody that you're a U.S. citizen when you're not, no, okay. Very important. Just please be mindful of that. You can't vote until you are a U.S. citizen. That is one. That is one of the benefits of having a U.S. citizenship, is that ability to vote in elections. Okay. And seems like couple more news. So the Office of Chief Counsel most likely will no longer join in with us lawyers in requests for joint motions in immigration court. So if we have a very deserving case, we were able to request for DHS to join in with us to make a motion in front of the court. So it looks like that's not going to be happening anymore. And another thing is, I'm sure you've heard of some cases made headlines, people detained at their interviews. So if you have an upcoming interview with USCIS and there is either an outstanding order of removal or any criminal issues or anything like that, please speak to an attorney, okay? Because there are ways how there are changes, how things are handled right now, and if you have issues, if it's not a straightforward case, that you have issues, reach out to an attorney. Don't handle this type of a case yourself. Okay. You should know your rights, and you should know what possibly can happen at that interview. Okay. So because changes have been implemented in that regard as well. Okay. I think that's probably it as far as major news, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good day, everybody.